700 horses of man and machine. They're 4 wide. Green flag, showtime. The Knoxville Nationals are green. Night 1 is done. The high side banger came out on top. Patrick Spangler takes the win. Maine went from the bottom to the top. The win. Oh, what a comeback for Rick Maine. While Annis and Denson each caught airtime. I mean, a lot of airtime. And then there was a lot of bumping. That shows you how bad everyone wants to make it in at the greatest place in sprint car racing and the biggest race in coast to coast. Now, it's night 2. The salesman is back to defend his crown. The professor wants to take the rest of the drivers to school. And then there's the boss, back in the sprint car. Night 2 of qualifying for the Knoxville Nationals in honor of Mike Westbrook. It's time to get it on. What a way to kick off last night. Knoxville Nationals action, and we do it all over again tonight with night number 2 of qualifying in the Mike Westbrook Memorial. And night number 2 is brought to you by the family of Dylan Westbrook Racing, Westbrook Farms, one of their official businesses. 48 hours from now, someone will be standing in victory lane as Knoxville Nationals champion. You'll see one of those champions, the defending champion from last year, Blake Chapman, with us throughout the night. So we welcome you to the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum pre-race show, and we're coming to you live once again for the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in turn number 2. Marty Sakala with you. Glad you could join us here once again for action. Zach Chapman busy tonight, so he's unable to make it, but he'll be back with you tomorrow for solo coverage of Hard Knocks. Well, what a way to kick things off there last night. You saw the recap as we've begun things, and Patrick Spangler swept the night with the win. Rick Mayne with a big comeback, got quick time that was involved in a wreck in the heat race, as well as early in the feature, came back to finish second. A fun start to the week, that's for sure. Obviously, to make it in the show, you have to, off the first 2 nights, point your way in. Top 16 drivers will make it into the show. Let's show you how the points look right now after night number 1. They are on the right of your screen. Breadweight has the advantage, a 5-point lead over Rick Mayne. Ryan Padgett is third with 482 points. Patrick Spangler fourth with 479 points. So if you're a driver in the top 4, you're feeling pretty comfortable. And you got Bob DeGood fifth with 464 points. Anthony Morano sixth, 456. Brandon Templeton seventh, 454. Jack Kidd is eighth, 452, tied with John Short. Jack Clevenger rounds out the top 10 at 451 points. Looking at 11 through 16, we don't have them on your screen. Clay Christopherson and Josh Gerlach are tied for 11th with 450. Stephen Goldner 13th at 449. Sam Bachman 14th at 434. Andy Patton, Chad Griggs tied for 15th at 433. The drivers we know that will have to either race their way in through Hard Knocks or make it through Alphabet Soup include Corey Densing, Parker Annis, Steven Stewart, Barry Goldner, Tayton Sander, Mark Gilbert, Harold Klump, Brandon Dittmer, Bill Calder, Steve Maurer, and Steve Bixler. We're getting set here for our volunteers race. These are drivers that are big helps to us in the Coast to Coast Racing League. They admin, they're a part of race control, they're a part of the executive team, reviewing penalties and stuff like that. Heck, even I could have been eligible to do this, but I decided not to. But this is our volunteer provisional. Although Patrick Spangler won both races last night, he wants to come out and join us for fun as well at the same time. Blake Chapman, currently the quickest driver at the moment, has the lone. Has the lone 15-second time on the track. Ross Corrina currently second quick at a 16:03. One of the drivers you have to watch out closely for tonight. G.J. Boydell coming back after having back surgery a couple weeks ago, third. Andy Patton fourth, and Bob DeGood in fifth. So as we get set to go here for action, let us know who you're rooting for in the chat. We appreciate you joining us here on this Tuesday night as qualifying is set to begin here on Volunteers Night. Couple minutes for the drivers here to run 2 qualifying laps. They have 5 minutes to put in a fast lap. We'll focus on the driver of the Every Child Matters 014. Greg Boydell, everyone calls him GJ though. Also see him as a regular big fan of Ohsweken Speedway as well as Land of Legends Raceway. Loves checking out the free live streams around the Northeast. So in the Volunteers race, 5 minutes of qualifying to put 2 laps as possible. Then you'll see single car qualifying in night number 2 as Patrick Spangler puts through the top of the charts to 1675, and he's got the Booth Boys, the original Booth Boys on the car. Myself, Isaac, and Dino, along with Buddy on the front wing. Spangler the quickest right now at the moment. That second lap time, 16.560. Bob DeGood jumps up to second quick. In the Air Force number 7, 16.7, drops down to third as Patrick Spangler puts up a 16.65. And same with Jack Kidd. Blake Chapman up to fourth after lap 1. Bob DeGood across the line, a slower lap on lap number 2. Same with Jack Hitt and Andy Patton. Actually, that was their second lap. That was quicker. Here comes Blake Chapman off for turn number 4. The salesman in the purple for sector 2. Quick time salesman. 16.291 for Blake Chapman. And Ross Corrina on lap 2 goes a 16.55. And so Blake Chapman will be on the pole for Volunteers Night tonight. So we're just moments away here from getting things going with heat race number 2. Of course, all proceeds here of the Knoxville Nationals go towards our friends at the Steve King Foundation. Last year, donated $1,800 to them during the Knoxville Nationals. They provide assistance to race car drivers, pit crew members, race officials, track ops personnel, or the immediate families of those individuals who are involved in dirt track racing and are seriously ill, severely injured, or killed. The foundation also contributes to organizations and facilities dedicated to improving the society of the sport when additional funds are available. There's a look at the cushion cam. We like to call that in turn number 2, and that thing was covered at the end of night number 1. Drivers are using the low line. They were using the high side. The cushion was very thick, as you could tell. Pretty much thick that you could sit on it, as I like to say from time to time. So 12 drivers making up Volunteers night, and we are ready to go for our feature. And with that being said, here's a look at your starting lineup. Blake Chapman on pole position in car number 20. Next to him, it's the boss, Ross Carina, in the 10. Row number 2, the high side banger. Last night's qualifying feature winner, Patrick Spangler in the 39, and Gentleman Jack Kitt in the 217. Row 3, the general, Andy Patton in the 87, and Bob DeGood in car number 7. Row 4, it's the Brew to Beast, Jeff Barker in the 513, and G.J. Boydow in the 014. Rounding out the top 10 tonight, the mayor, Steve Bixler, he's in car number 75, and the Desert Demon, Terry Landis, bringing back the Yoo-Hoo scheme in car number 161. Final row for tonight's Volunteers Night feature, it's the Professor, John Hine, in car number 71, and the Captain, Gary Taylor, in the 34. So field follows the Steve King Foundation pace truck as we get set to go. Hey, I mentioned Shaggy earlier, Zach Chapman. He's actually checking in. He says, waiting for the Foo Fighters to come on stage. No surprise to see the salesman at the top. So if you're wondering what Zach's doing tonight, he's at a Foo Fighters concert. Have a good time with that, Zach. That should be awesome. Take one more lap here before we go green. A wave and white time for the Coast to Coast Racing League 360 sprint cars. These sprint cars run every Monday night with Popular Rebels and Renegades. Also running Wednesday with Hometown Heroes action. Some of the best dirt racing that you'll see on iRacing without question. So 25-lap feature, winner gets the provisional. If it's someone already in the show, then so right now we'll go to the driver that finishes in second. As we're ready to go racing, Barney, you see, has the green flag in hand. Blake Chapman, Ross Carina bring the field to the green flag for our Volunteers Night feature. It's time to get it on. Blake Chapman goes through with the advantage, but off at turn number 2, Ross Carina with a run around the outside. That's where you want to be on corner exit for the top spot. Trying to high, wide, and handsome, but has company from Patrick Spangler. As Chapman leads lap number 1, Carina second, and Spangler third. You are probably looking at right now the best 3 drivers in sprint car racing in the coast to coast. Obviously, you have Blake Chapman and Patrick Spangler, who normally finish the top 2 in Renegades points at the end, but you also have Ross Carina, who last season was a Rebels driver and won every Rebels race that he competed in. It was unbelievable to see as he battles with a high side banger for second. Carina pushes up badly. Spangler with the door open takes away second spot. A lot similar to how he passed Ryan Paget for the lead and eventually the win. Now he tries to close in on Blake Chapman for the top spot. A 16:55 last time by for Blake Chapman. His best lap so far. 4 laps complete. Looking at other battles on the racetrack. Just had a change for 8. Jeff Barker makes his way past Terry Landis for the position. Barker talked about him a lot earlier this week. He's one of those drivers that has seen to improve with this race car every single week. Oh, look out, John Hyde sideways in turn number 1, and what a save. But one driver, unfortunately, didn't really save it. He kept it straight. That's Steve Bixler, and look at the front end. Destroyed. Somehow the tether's still attached to the wheel. I don't know how. But he'll be able to put it into pit road and not even need a single quick repair. Here's a look at what happened to the professor. Contact with Gary Taylor, and he's sideways in front of the mayor. And Bixler actually missed the 71, but unfortunately could not miss the outside wall. No damage from the Gambler Motorsports car as he right on board with him. Look at him. Look at the hands on that wheel. Hanging on to that puppy. And apparently, Ross Carina has fallen to the back. I'm not sure what happened here. Let's pop up a replay and see if anything happened with the boss. He was running third at the time. And I'm not sure if he just decided to let the field go by or what. No, he actually came on the pit road. I wonder if he had something wrong with that car. Either had something wrong with the car that he had to use a quick repair or wanted to make a quick adjustment. So Carina restarts outside of row number 6. So Chapman, the control car here for this restart. He fires, decides to wait till the green flag, and we're back underway. So Chapman able to hold serve, and look at this, 3 wide for third, the general. Andy Patton trying to go 2 for 1, but here comes as well Bob DeGood, who's made his way through to the 3rd position, nearly 4 wide off the corner. DeGood up 3 spots, Pat Boydell up 4 spots. The general trying to find his way past the Bruton Beast. John Hyde clips the back of Jack Hitt, and he's sideways once again. I collects Bixler once more. It's the same 2 drivers that were involved in the first accident, involved in the second, and we go back to yellow on lap 9. A lot of wild stuff breaking out there. And DeGood was able to secure 3rd at the line. Patton just had the door shut by Jack Hitt, just freaked out the steering. And man, Bixler just got clipped. And that is likely the end of the night for Bixler in this Volunteers race. John Hine, luckily enough, will be able to use a quick repair because he did not suffer any damage. There it was, ramped over the right rear sneaker. Now look at that, left front just dangles. A hard crash. Bixler luckily able to keep all 4 wheels on that race car. And I'm going to double check something here real quick. Actually, the drivers have 2 quick repairs, not 1 for Volunteers night. So Bixler's already used both, so he'll have to be careful for the rest of this one. Lights off the Steve King Foundation pace truck. As we are set to come back to the green flag. Chapman and Spangler, row 1. DeGood and Boydell, row number 2. Hitt and Patton, row 3. Corinna Barker, row 4. Landis and Taylor, row 5. And Hine and Bixler round out the field. Here we go, back to the green. Man, DeGood took a crack at second on Spangler. May cost him 2 spots possibly. Boydell trying the longer way around the Knoxville Raceway to go for that 3rd spot. And Gentleman Jack right behind. Does he peek underneath, around the outside? Tries to, but Boydell didn't get a lot of momentum. Exiting turn number 4. Sent it though in turn number 1 to propel himself to 3rd. Jack hit Bob DeGood, touch. And both of them hang on. And that helps out the boss man, Ross Corinna. Moves up into the 4th position. As Hitt and DeGood on back, race for 5th. And Boydell's got company, leaves a lane open for Ross Corinna as the number 10 moves up to 3rd. Now can he catch Patrick Spangler and Blake Chapman as we're just around the halfway mark here. John Hine trying to come back after being the cause of the first 2 cautions and nearly touches Bob DeGood coming across the line. Considers throwing the slide job in and was able to clear DeGood. Takeaway 6, currently your biggest mover so far, up 5 positions. G.J. Boydell, the 2nd biggest, up 4. Brandon Barker wheel to 1. Let's pull up the 5-lap average for the first time tonight and show you the best race car on track, and it appears to be Ross Corinna looks to be a tad better than Blake Chapman. See how it's all changing here every time they come across the start-finish line. So that could be something to keep your eyes on, but Blake Chapman over a 1-second lead on Patrick Spangler at the moment. And a good idea of how his car could set up here for tonight. Barker's lost a lot of ground. The past moments, Andy Patton now on his rear end. He's got to run. Testing the top for 8th. Patton nearly gets the wall down the back chute. Able to hang on to it. 7 to go for our Volunteers Provisional. Boydell starting to lose some ground once again to Gentleman Jack Hitt. In the battle for the 4th position. Really good to see GJ back inside a sim rig. I mentioned a couple weeks ago had some back surgery, so he's been on the mend. So great to see him back with us. 5 laps to go meanwhile for Blake Chapman. The lead has been cut down in half, by the way, to a half second. So Spangler maybe have been saving something up for this last second charge. He threw it in deep, back up on the cushion. 4 laps to go, gap at around 0.6 of a second. Let's pull up the last 5 laps here. Can't tell on lap number 21. Now that lead starting to increase once again, and Ross Corinna wants a crack at second. Spangler slammed the door in his face off the corner and throws it in deep. Tests the slider line once again. Kisses the guardrail. Nice exit off for turn 2 though for Patrick Spangler. And now Chapman knows it's time to defend, but Spangler threw it in the deepest I've seen anyone throw it in. Off at turn number 4, he is there, but cracks the wall once more with 2 to go. And he nearly clipped the tail tank of Blake Chapman. Spangler knows he's got a chance. He is back in the hunt. Throws it in deep once again. Testing things out. Battle for the race lead. White flag is out, 1 to go. Is it going to be Blake Chapman or is it going to be Patrick Spangler? Maybe even Ross Corinna. Patrick Spangler, top shelf where mama hides the cookies. Tries to peek underneath. Chapman shuts the door. Here comes Spangler off the corner. Side by side for the win. Oh, they touch 3 wide at the line. Blake Chapman by 1/1000th of a second. in what's gotta be the closest finish in coast-to-coast history. Blake Chapman in the show, and wow, what a finish! Wait a second, are they saying Spangler? Our live timing may be off. It may be Spangler, actually. Spangler by 5 thousandths per iRacing live timing. Wow. Chapman, though, in the show, though, with the provisional because Spangler's already in, so that provisional currently belongs to Blake Chapman. Remember, SDK live timing can be off on occasions with iRacing, so the official margin you see when we're live is not correct. Something to keep in mind. But 5 thousandths of a second, Spangler wins in one of the closest finishes you'll ever see in coast to coast. That was a lot like what we saw between Chris Buescher and Kyle Larson. This is going into 3 and 4. Remember, Spangler was trying the slider line out. We'll put this even slower here. They touch, and that momentum right there. Wow, look how close that was just underneath the flag stand. Oh my goodness. Here it is once more. Sideways. Let's see if we can go frame by frame here. Right there. I think that's where it is. Unbelievable finish. We saw as well in the aftermath, Ross Corinna got involved in that too. Well, let's begin with the proceedings and talk with our third place finisher, Ross Corinna. Ross, what a race and what a comeback. First, I want to ask you early in the race, what happened? Why'd you come to pit road under caution?
Coming out of 2, I got a little lazy on the steering wheel and I tapped the wall. I could feel the car was a little bit funky with the steering, so it was pretty early, so I just figured I'd go get a fast repair.
That's smart, especially knowing that there's more quick repairs than normal. Your car, though, came in late in the going. What positives do you take away from it going towards your qualifying night tonight?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's good to get this race in. I think the track during the race tonight will be a little bit different, but you should be able to kind of use it as kind of as a test session. But yeah, the car felt really good on the cushion, so that's really encouraging for me. Hopefully the bottom slicks off and middle slicks off, and it's around the top. And I don't know, it felt good. Slider line felt good, top felt good, but yeah, that it's nice to once again racing with those two. It's just fun, you know. Fun to race with them. It's clean, and kind of wish I didn't have to go to the back and come back up. See, it could have been even a little more fun.
It was a great run for you, though, man. Who do you want to give shout-outs to on the car?
Yeah, Phantom Motorsports guys, Vandyville guys, M9 Performance for the setups, Velocity Race Design, you guys for putting on the show, Marty, and then everybody at Coast to Coast keeping the league going. So
we'll let you go. Great job tonight, and best of luck later tonight.
Thank you.
So Ross Corinna, our third place finisher. Let's go to the man that finished second in Blake Chapman. Blake, we thought it was you at the end, but our timing was off just a little bit. Oh, man, what a finish. I got to compliment both of you guys for putting that one down to the wire.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. You know, I mean, you come into this race, it's a volunteers race. You know, it's not like it's the Knoxville Nationals quite yet, but of course everybody out here wants to win. So That was a lot of fun. I just made some adjustments to the car, and I could feel that bottom was kind of going away on me. But with those adjustments I made, I really wanted to see what I could get out of this car running that bottom when I got slick. And yeah, I learned I have to make a few more adjustments to this car to be ready for later on tonight. And yeah, I just came in here looking for answers for later on tonight, and hopefully I got some.
Well, you currently have the provisional at the moment from Volunteers Night since Spangler won, and he's 4th in points right now, and he looks to make the top 16 by the end of the night. So right now you got it at the moment. So what positives, though, do you take away from your car? I know you kind of touched on it. What positives do you take away from your car moving forward towards the rest of the night?
Yeah, hopefully I don't have to use that provisional, but yeah, we felt really, really good in qualifying. If I don't hit the bottom, we're about 4/10 slower than if I do hit the bottom. So if driver error isn't an issue, then I think we'll be pretty good when the track's tacky here tonight. Just got to make some adjustments to the back end of the car, tighten things up a little bit once it gets slick, and I think we'll be fine.
Who do you want to give shout-outs to on the run?
I got to thank all the guys down at the Kreitzen Racing team. I got to thank the family for watching. I got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps and Andy and AJ Custom Creations. I got to, of course, thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. You know, they got some of the best stuff out there. You can head over to their website and use code CART, that's C-A-R-T, at checkout for 15% off of your purchase. And I got to thank you for putting this on, Marty.
All righty. We'll let you go. Great job, and best of luck later tonight.
Thanks, Marty.
So Blake Chapman finishes P2, not P1, P2. Patrick Spangler determined the winner by iRacing. Wow, that was close at the end. Did you think you had it at the line when you crossed it?
I knew I almost smoked his rear end when I threw it in that slider line, so I knew it was going to be close, but no, I thought he was going to get me in the bottom because the bottom was just so strong all race, but I was just trying something else to see if I could get anything else working, and that was an insane finish. I didn't mean to come down into him. I don't know if I hit the wall or back end slid out, but as soon as I kept out of the wall on the slider, I just held the wheel straight and gassed as hard as I could down the straightaway.
Hey, man, it's close racing coming to the end. What'd you learn off the, I mean, I shouldn't ask you, what'd you learn off the race car since you qualified last night? And you're 4th in points here. Do you feel like you've got pretty much enough to make it into the show via top 16, or how closely will you be watching this tonight?
I'll be watching it. Hopefully I get into the pole shuffle and then improve my starting spot, or at least have a chance to. But yeah, it all depends. If it's as crazy as it was last night, where everybody's racing super crazy, a bunch of wrecks, then I have a shot, I think, at it. But if it's not like that, I may fall out of the top 10. So we'll see how tonight goes. I saw some late sign-ups, so we got some heavy hitters there. Moonin finally found another 360 motor, so he joined the night. So some heavy hitters going tonight.
Who do you want to give shout-outs to on the run?
Just you for the awesome broadcast each week. Roger running the league and running this awesome event each and every year. Dylan Westbrook Racing, the Michael Westbrook Foundation, Training Wheels Racing, and Dad, Uncle back on watching.
All right, man, we'll let you go. Great job tonight. So Patrick Spangler gets it done. Should mention as well, Training Wheels Racing brought you the podium, the top 3, paying out thanks to them. And so tonight will be brought to you by Full Throttle Motorsports, the podium. So step aside, take our first break of the night. When we come back, it is qualifying night number 2 set to begin. Patrick Spangler brings Buddy and the original Booth Boys to victory lane. Stay with us, the Coast to Coast Racing Network. it's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Focus on the champion, trying to be a
bit of a hiatus, so let's get. Tonight when we talked about it.
Outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized we wanted to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately, they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
Night 1 is done. The high side banger came out on top. Patrick Spangler takes the win. Maine went from the bottom to the top. The win. Oh, what a comeback for Rick Maine! While Annis and Denson each caught airtime. I mean, a lot of airtime. And then there was a lot of bumping. That shows you how bad everyone wants to make it in at the greatest place in sprint car racing and the biggest race in coast to coast. Now, it's night 2. The salesman is back to defend his crown. The professor wants to take the rest of the drivers to school. And then there's the boss, back in a sprint car. Night 2 of qualifying for the Knoxville Nationals in honor of Mike Westbrook. It's time to get it on. We're set to go for night 2 of qualifying for the Knoxville Nationals to figure out your top 16 starters for Thursday night's feature. Night number 2 of qualifying is brought to you by the Westbrook family and Westbrook Farms. Well, we welcome you back inside our broadcast booth in Turn 2 at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. Marty Sakala with you. We've got 26 drivers at least right now with us that are getting set to qualify in just a couple of moments. Last night, if you missed us, we had some good racing. Patrick Spangler was battling for the win. Brad Waite was battling for the win. P. Daddy was battling for the win. Ryan Paget. And the high side banger got it done. He swept every race so far and is making a statement. Blake Chapman almost got it in our volunteers race, so that shows you something that he wants it as well at the same time. So I believe drivers meeting is currently happening at the moment. Yeah, nobody's on track. The track is currently quiet as things stand. So we will pull up the lap times here before qualifying begins. Bill Calder checking in. Hope you're doing well. Bill raced with us last night. Thanks for coming out to watch us here tonight. Jonathan Dolly currently your quickest driver at a 15:14. Keith Jackson second at a 15:25. Dan McLaren is third at a 15:48. Kyle Fahey fourth, 15:58. And Logan Wentz is fifth at a 15:68. Good look here at the village of Knoxville as we're moments away from going green with qualifying. Qualifying different than we normally do it on the coast-to-coast, on a regular coast-to-coast racing night. Normally it's 2 minutes, all drivers on track at once to put 2 laps in as possible. On the night like the Knoxville Raceway, only one driver on track at a time, so single car qualifying that you will see here. Two more nights for us for the Knoxville Nationals. Obviously, we have Hard Knocks taking place tomorrow night, along with our pole shuffle amongst the top 10 drivers in points. Hard Knocks will determine the bottom 4 starters in our feature. That comes before the provisionals in our lineup. And then Thursday night, Soup Night, leading up to our 47-lap championship attraction. Should talk about as well who we are racing for. A pair of sprint car drivers that were involved in accidents. And thanks to the Steve King Foundation, they are helping the drivers out in their recovery back to the racetrack. Angelique Bell last month was involved in a 410 sprint car accident that resulted in a fire, suffering inhalation injuries to her throat, voice box, and lungs. Involved in the ICU for a couple of days. Hasn't been able to return to work yet. Henry Rogers involved in a fire with his Outlaw cart on July 5th with minor burns to his both extremities and face. Hoping to be back in a cart by October. So, all right. So I believe we've got the qualifying order set, and the first driver that we will see on the racetrack in the Extreme E-Speed TV Gambler Motorsports number 71. It's the Professor John Hine. John Hine in car number 71. Again, the qualifying order all determined via a random pill draw generated 5 times thanks to random.org. So John Hine, Renegade's driver, will be the first one to qualify. He sets the bar. Best finish of the year in Renegade's been a tough start to the season for the Professor. Best finish is 11th at Eldora to begin the month of July. Lap number 1 time for John Hine is a 17:002, 17002 for the Professor. We're in the middle groove here of the Knoxville Raceway, off the corner, purple in sector 2, but it is a slower lap, 17:021. So first lap stance is the quickest, 17:002. Next driver on the speedway. In the 043, it's Bryce Odell. Bryce Odell also a Renegades driver. Best finish on the season came a couple weeks ago as well at Eldora, a 9th place finish. As his first lap time is second quick at a 17:094. I'm sorry, that was his warm-up lap, pardon me. First lap time for Bryce Odell, purple in sector number 2. That was lap number 2, and it's quick time at a 16:999. 0.03 of a second, Bryce Odell is quicker. And now the third driver to qualify in the Malcolm's Mills Millwrighting Can-Am Racing Team, Salty Dogs Racing Team 513, the Brood to Beast, Jeff Barker. Jeff Barker in car number 513. 5th in points so far on the season, as this will be his lone lap in qualifying. Best finish for him, a 4th at Eldora. And man, has he improved recently. This is his lone lap. Where does he clock 3rd at a 17:016? Look at that, 1st to 3rd, separated by 0.02 of a second. It is tight early here. Second lap time won't count as, nope, it did count actually, a 17:07, so I believe they're going to do 3 laps here of qualifying, and that is the case, just in case someone's first lap gets voided. So only 2 laps, though, for the drivers, though. That 3rd lap, just an insurance lap, just in case. Next driver on the track in the Salty Dogs race team, Young Gun Creations, number 41. It's Pat Boyce. Pat Boyce in car number 41. Pat Boyce has switched down to a part-time schedule on Monday nights. One top 10 of the season in Rebels, as he is 4th quick on lap 1, 17:143, 17:143 for Pat Boyce. Checkers wave here on Boyce's 2nd lap, and it is off by 0.05. There was a 17:194 on lap number 2. Next driver on the racetrack in the Full Throttle Motorsports, number 118, it's Logan Wentz. Logan Wentz also sponsored by the Super Dirt Car Series and MDI TV. A regular in Thursday night action, as well as our Monday night 358 Open division. Logan Wentz with a pair of top 5s and top 10s on the season. Best finish, a 4th at the dirt track at Charlotte on June 17th. Lap 1 time for Logan Wentz goes 5th quick, 17:292, 17:292 for Logan Wentz. Slower in the first half of the lap, that's in sector number 1. As he makes his way to the checkers, a little sideways off for turn 4, but better in sector 2. Is this a better lap? It is not, a 17:300 on lap 2. Underway with his next lap in the Venom Racing Super Dirt Car Series number 88. It's Trent Verstraeten. Trent Verstraeten in car number 88. Verstraeten's progressed his way up here with us recently. Lap 1 time for Verstraeten goes 4th quickest, 17:119, 17:119 for Trent Verstraeten. A top 5 on the season in the Rebels division. Best finish was a 4th at Kokomo with the tires out. As he looks to improve here on his time, better in sector 2. Well, is it enough though? No, it's not. 17:26 for Trent Verstraeten. Also in a Venom Racing machine, the AMSOIL number 25, it's Gary Sigelkow. Gary Sigelkow in car number 25. Normally races the modified. Sometimes we'll bring out the sprint car from time to time as he's loose off of turn number 2. Lap 1 time for Gary Sigelkow is 7th quickest at a 17:583, 17:583, and he gets sideways in turn number 2. That will likely void that second lap as he lost control with the race car, and so won't be better. The next driver we'll see in the Salty Dogs race team, Malcolm's Mills Mill Riding, number 34. That's the captain, Gary Taylor. Gary Taylor in car number 34, 12th in Rebel points. Pair of top 10s for him on the season. Each an 8th place finish at Eldora and Oswego in back-to-back weeks on July 1st and July 8th. Lap 1 time from Gary Taylor. Goes 7th quickest at a 17:5:44, 1:7:544 for the captain. Butch Baker checking in. Rooting for the Venom Racing team as always. Joe Canellis rooting for G.J. Boydell as Gary has a better lap at a 17:3:44, but keeps him 7th quick. Next driver in the Roger Craig Racing, Malcolm's Mills Mill Riding, Steve King Foundation, number 747, the Bassman, Roger Craig. Roger Craig in the 747. Of course, with the Dylan Westbrook paint scheme. Roger, a Rebels driver. 5th in points coming on in with a top 5 to transfer him into Renegades action. That was a fit that came at Williams Grove Speedway. Lap number 1 time for Roger Craig goes 8th quickest at a 17:5:08, 1:7:508 for the Bassman, Roger Craig. He's got Mike Westbrook initials on top of the wing. Driving in honor of him. Looking for a much better lap time off at turn number 4. Green in sector 1. Is it better? Just barely 17:501 for Roger Craig. Next driver, he just came across the line to begin lap number 1 in the Every Child Matters Oshweekend Speedway, number 014. It's G.J. Boydell. G.J. Boydell in the 014 again. Recovering from back surgery, cleared enough to race. Good to see him back with us. Lap 1 time for Boydell, 4th quick, 17:116, 1:7:116 for G.J. Boydell. Great lap for him, showing that the truck has a little bit of speed in it as of right now, but this second lap time could be better in sector number 2 than it was in sector 1, and he is better, a 17:066 on lap number 2. Come to take the green flag, defending Renegades champion and defending Knoxville Nationals champion in the Crate Sim Racing, Galen's Homegrown Popcorn Epsilon Sprint Wraps, number 20, the salesman Blake Chapman. Blake Chapman in car number 20. Man, he came so close, 5,000 shy of winning the Volunteers Provisional as he is purple in lap number 1. Quick time at a 16:810. 16:810 for Blake Chapman. Remember, top 8 get inverted before heat races per Knoxville Nationals rules. Off in sector 1, but it's a better lap. Perfect in sector 2, 16:758 for the salesman Blake Chapman. Next driver coming off at turn number 4 in the Victory Fuel 25 machine. Driving car number 16, that's Kyle Fahey. Kyle Fahey in car number 16. Fahey's been racing on and off with us. 2 starts in Rebels action this season. Lap number 1 for Fahey goes 11th quickest at a 6:17:54. 1:7:540 for Kyle Fahey as we bring up the best lap times here. Second lap, Fahey with a much better lap. At a 17:39, jumps him up a spot that goes to 10th in the standings. About 12 drivers through in qualifying. The next driver we will see just made his way out onto the racetrack in the RSR KSR Steve King Foundation, number 56. It's Randy Shreves. Randy Shreves in car number 56. Shreves on and off in action that on Monday nights. Only 1 Renegade start on the season, was able to put it in the top 10. And that start came at Lernerville last week. First lap time for Randy Shreves goes 16:99 on lap number 2, but second quick for Randy Shreves, 16:918 for the driver of the number 56. And now we see the driver of the GoPro Sim Racing Concepts, number 94, Gary Offutt. Gary Offutt in car number 94. Offutt, Rebels driver with 3 top 10s of the season. Not yet to make it into Renegades action. Best finish in 8th at Kokomo. It's his first lap time, a 17.292, 1.7292 for Gary Offutt. As he looks to better it off of turn number 4. Is he in the green? Green in sector 1, off in sector 2. It's a 17.423 on lap number 2. Next driver making his Coast to Coast Racing League debut in car number 074, the Davenport machine. That's Jonathan Dolly. Backmasters as well on the race car too. 4 Mile Productions. Purple and black number 74 for Dolly. Just under a 3,000 I rating for him to sign up. His first lap time goes 9th quickest at a 17.171. 17171 for Jonathan Dolly. Making his way off at turn number 4. Better in sector 1, off in sector number 2. And second lap time 17.221. And the next driver we see in the Venom Racing Slide Job Racing Network. Black Rifle Coffee Company number 88, that's Dan McLaren. Dan McLaren, the 88. He gave me another nickname for him to use. I can't remember what the nickname was called. We used to call him Soupy because he would always go from our back then C Division Raiders all the way up to Renegades. Lap number 1 time for Dan McLaren goes up on the board. 16th quickest at 17.611, 17611 for Dan McLaren. You can tell he was really sideways on that entire lap. So he's looking for a much better lap time here to put him towards the front of the field. Could also try to be going for the invert at the same time. Could be a better lap here, better in sector 2, and it is 17.508. That's 15th quickest though for Dan McLaren. And the next driver we see in the Sim Racing Concepts, all in number 4, Greg Parmalee. Greg Parmalee in car number 4. Parmalee, a Rebels driver, 2 starts though on the season, with his best finish on the year, a 15th that came at Lernerville last week. Lap 1 time for Parmalee goes 17th at a 17.659, 17659 for Parmalee. Looking to improve his lap time greatly. Green in sector 1, and it's a 17.89698 on lap number 2. 17 drivers have taken time. Next driver on the racetrack. He is in the Krite Sim Racing, Galen's homegrown popcorn. Yoo-hoo, number 161, the Desert Demon, Terry Landis. Terry Landis in car number 161, Renegades driver. 13th in the point standings this season. Best finish in the top 10. It was a 10th place finish at Eldora on July 1st. See a lot of people, when you think of Terry Landis, you look back at the upset he had at Port Royal a couple of seasons ago. Lap 1 time for the Desert Demon. Goes 8th quickest. Great lap for Terry Landis. 17.129, 17129 for the Desert Demon. And this appears to be a slower lap for Landis. Orange in sector 1, orange in sector 2. Lap number 2 time at 17.41. Next driver on the racetrack of the Salty Dogs race team, number 302. Been a while since we've seen this man, JR, John Rayner, back with us. First start for John Rayner in a while. Also has Maurer Farm Management and Lucy Olson on the race car. Lucy playing at Iowa, by the way. Next college basketball season. First lap time, 17.898. 17888 for John Rayner. This could be a better lap as he was green in sector 1. Hopefully it is, and it is a 17.748, but still 19th quickest for JR. Next driver we see for qualifying in the number 099. This is driven by Glenn Sharp, also with the patriotic Oakley colors. Glenn Sharp, an open 358 driver with us on Monday nights. 4 starts on the season for the driver of the 99 as he puts his first lap up on the chart. 17.817, 20th quickest for Glenn Sharp. Best finish of the year, 17th each at Oswego and Eldora. Of course, open 358s has a lot of tough competition. Off the corner with a much improved lap for Glenn, a 17.68. 17.682 to be specific for Glenn Sharp. Next driver on the racetrack in the Baylor Dirt, number 831. It's driven by Tyler Flynn. Tyler Flynn sometimes racing the sprint car, regularly though races the open 358. First lap time for Tyler Flynn. Man has had 4 starts on the year. 14th quickest, a 17.369. 17.369 for Tyler Flynn. Best finish with the open 358 this season. A 22nd at Kokomo and Charlotte. So, but very tough for Flynn to try and make a feature with the high car count we have with that division. Second lap time off at a 17.388. Next driver on the speedway, defending Rebels champion in the Velocity Race Design, Phantom Motorsports, Vanderbilt Customs, number 10. It's the boss, Ross Carino. Normally with the blue and black colors on that number 10, or blue and white. Sides go red and black with the yellow on it as well at the same time. Does this track still have speed to it? Lap number 1 goes 9th quickest, 17.134, 17.134 for the boss, Ross Carino. And the second lap time is slower for Carino, a 17.207. So 4 drivers left to qualify. We'll now see the number 27 Browns Automotive machine driven by Michael Junk. Back with us, of course, decided after having technical issues Monday night when it came to the iRacing server and qualifying to move things over to tomorrow night to race with us. Lap 1 time for Michael Junk, 17th quickest, 17.435, 17.435 for Junk. Better in Sector 1 as he tries to rip the lip in 3 and 4. Up, and that car ran out of fuel. So that lap way off, 18.02. 3 drivers left here in qualifying, waiting to see who makes their way out onto the racetrack. Blake Chapman still the quickest with a incredible lap, 16.76. Randy Shreves is second, 16.92. Bryce Odell third. Same with John Hine. They have 17 even laps. Then Jeff Barker rounds out the top 5 at a 17.02. Kyle Moon and Keith Jackson, Doyle Lawrence yet to qualify. And Doyle Lawrence is making his way out onto the racetrack in the Dirt Track Bank Hammer Down Racing Raven Graphics number 3. Also with Mission 22 on the race car. Lawrence, one of the paint designers for one of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola Series teams. Normally when I've seen Doyle race, whenever I'm broadcasting, normally in an asphalt race car. Oh, look out! Really sideways in turn number 3 and 4. Nearly clipped the wall. This is a very slow lap for Doyle Lawrence. So he's got a lot of work to do. 17.719 on lap number 1. 17719. Lawrence has a handful in that number 3 machine. That is not doing it for Dale there. In the orange in Sector 2. So 2 drivers left to qualify. Remember, we're going for points here. Something to keep in mind, folks. Should mention as well, qualifying brought to you by our friends at Dillon Westbrook Racing, as they're offering some good payouts here. Keith Jackson, the next driver to qualify in the PDC, number 113. First lap showing some speed here. Third quick for Jackson, 16.964, 16964 for Keith Jackson. He's purple in sector 1. Blake Chapman, hold on tight. You've got company for the pole position. Jackson off for 4, orange in sector 2, second quickest, 16.865. Looked like he had a pole lap going, but then was off in the second half of the lap. So that leaves one driver left in Dillon Westbrook Racing qualifying in the Velocity Race Design Bandy-Built Racing number 24. The Money King, Kyle Moonen. Kyle Moonen, 2021 Knoxville Nationals champion. First lap time goes 17:26. That's 13th quickest, 17263. Final lap underway for the Money King as he tries to bring it off at turn number 4 with the better lap, better in sector 1 than sector 2, and barely 17:260. So the salesman Blake Chapman picks up the points here in Dillon Westbrook Racing qualifying. And so that's 200 points going down by 2. Chapman the quickest, 1676. Jackson second, 1687. Randy Shreves is third, 1692. Bryce Odell, John Hine, each at 17 even. Jeff Barker sixth, 1702. G.J. Boydell seventh at 1707. Trent Verstraeten eighth, 1712. Terry Landis, Ross Corina tied for ninth, 1713. Pat Boyce 11th, 1714. Jonathan Daly 12th, 1717. Kyle Moonen 13th, 1726. Gary Offut 14th, 1729, along with Logan Wentz in 15th. Gary Taylor 16th, 1734. Tyler Flynn 17th, 1737. 18th, Kyle Fahey 1739. Michael Junkett 19th at a 1743. And Roger Craig in 20th, 1750. Dan McLaren 21st, 1751. Gary Sigelkow 22nd at a 1758. John Rayner 23rd, 1762. Greg Parmalee 24th at a 1766. Glenn Sharp 25th, 1768. And Douglas Lawrence rounds out the field at a 1772. Want to give big thanks as well tonight to Full Throttle Motorsports for sponsoring the podium payouts here for our top 3 drivers tonight. $25 to the winner, 15 to second, 10 for third. Blake Chapman getting $25 towards the quick time as the fastest qualifier. He will start in 8th in heat race number 1. Some moments away from heat racing getting going. There's a look at the Rib Shack. Great place for ribs. Ribs, Iowa corn. I believe I had mac and cheese there as well. It was incredibly delicious when I had dinner with Blake Chapman on the Tuesday night before the Knoxville Nationals. Look at the cushion cam in turn number 2. That baby will be covered up here later on tonight. We're giving the drivers a couple minutes to take a bathroom break here before we go racing. Gives us the chance to pay some love to a couple of other sponsors that we've yet to really mention here throughout the week, including Southern Ontario Sprints, the Turnbull family, Flatline Racing Bodies, Got Your 6 Racing Network, along with a bunch of other partners. Without them, none of it is possible. TDP, Raven Graphics, ABR Setup Shop, Velocity Race Design, as well as the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Steven Stewart, of course, rooting for Turn 5 Enterprises. Of course, Joe Canellis rooting for G.J. Boydell, who went 7th quick in qualifying. Stuart rooting for Fahey, who went 18th quickest. Highest Phenom driver, as who Butchie was rooting for. Well, as per heat race number 1. Actually, I can't tell anymore. So we're set to go for heat 1, which is brought to you by Aces Up Sim Sports. Here's a look at your starting lineup. On the pole, Gary Sigelkow in car number 25. Next to him, it's Michael Junk in the 27. Row number 2, the captain, Gary Taylor in the 34. And the Money King, Kyle Moonen in the 24. Row number 3, it's the boss, Ross Carina in car number 10. And G.J. Boydell next to him in the 014. Row 4, it's Bryce Odell in the 43. And the salesman, Blake Chapman in car number 20. Final driver on the grid here tonight for heat race number 1, Glenn Sharp in car number 99. This is the battle for pole position for tonight's feature. As the field rolls off here for heat race number 1. Get the Steve King Foundation pace truck on pole on pit road instantly. Winner starts on pole for tonight's 30-lap feature. Here we go. Barney's got the green flag in hand. It's Sigelkow and Junk bring us to green. First heat race of the night underway here at Knoxville. 4 wide for the 3rd position. Blake Chapman squeezed up, some contact with Kyle Moonen. Everybody hanging on to it, but it's 3 wide for the race lead. Michael Junk, high, wide, and handsome to the point. Sigelkow sideways, letting the field go by as Junk leads lap number 1. Here come Moonen and Chapman, 4 wide for the race lead once again. A lot of drivers getting on the binders here as the Money King, Kyle Moonen. Out to the point, Ross Carina looking for a run for second on Michael Junk. Quickest driver on track right now, Moonen 17:31. He's trying to run away with it. Gary Taylor in the final transfer spot. Just kissed the wall. Blake Chapman tries to get past him. Kyle Moonen trying to run away from both Ross Carina and Blake Chapman. 17:16, quickest guy on the racetrack, but he popped the wall off for turn number 2. Blake Chapman in that 4th position just took away the final transfer spot. He wants more, looks for 3rd underneath Michael Junk. Can he take it away? Not just yet. We're halfway home, 4 up and 4 down in heat race number 1. And now Chapman clears for 3rd. Kyle Moonen was quicker, but Ross Carina 16:97. Diamonds turn number 2. Looking for the race lead in a 3. Slide job by the boss. Moonen tries to counter it back. You've got a new leader with 2 laps to go. An even better lap by Ross. 16:92, starting in 5th last time, boss. In 5th in this heat race. Meanwhile, I would not count out Blake Chapman yet. Although he's 0.6 of a second behind the leaders. Could have a chance at maximum points after scoring quick time. Final lap underway here in heat race number 1. Ross Carina or Kyle Moonen for the pole position. Carina decides to defend downstairs and use the slider line that Patrick Spengler was running. Moonen tries to counter it back, but it's Ross Carina that wins heat 1. Moonen 2nd, Chapman 3rd, Junk 4th there in the show. Taylor 5th, Sigelkow 6th, Sharp 7th, Odell 8th, Boydell 9th. We actually had a crash coming to the end. Glenn Sharp has lost the steering. They were coming to the checkered flag. Bryce Odell, G.J. Boydell, all involved in an accident. We're going to see if we can pop up the wreck just in time before it transfers us over to heat race number 2. I doubt it will let us do that. Boydell and Taylor make contact, and up and over goes G.J. flipping and clip Bryce Odell. I think that's all we need to see from that. So we now move to heat race number 2, brought to you by Training Wheels Racing, official team of the Coast to Coast Racing Network. And here's how the field lines up. JR on pole position, John Rayner, The 302 next to him, it's the Bass man, Roger Craig, in the 747. Row number 2, Tyler Flynn in the 831. Next to him, Gary Alford in the 94. Pat Boyce is inside of row number 3. Next to him, it's Trent Verstraeten in the 88. Row number 4 tonight, it's the Professor, John Hine. He's in car number 71. Next to Keith Jackson in the 113. And the final spot on the grid belongs to Doyle Lawrence in car number 3. Corey Denson checking in chat. His head hurts after the flip he had. He's looking forward to racing his way in. That's the spirit. As we come to green for heat race number 2. Rayner sideways in front of the 831. Flynn has to check up. A lot of contact all over the place, and we've wrecked over half the field. Couldn't even make it to the first lap. Roger Craig, Trent Verstraeten, Tyler Flynn put on his noggin. Verstraeten gonna give him some good sportsmanship and try and push him over, but unfortunately that won't be the case. Trent's trying to, he's being a gentleman, I know that. Oh, almost there. We'll see what happens in that, but let's show you the replay on what happened. First you see Rayner gets sideways, Flynn checks up. Big run around the outside as Jackson caught Verstraeten. And man, we just saw mayhem there. Let's go on board with Tyler Flynn, who started 3rd. And unfortunately, Tyler had to put it on the pit road after the weight shift like that. Here's the onboard Trent Verstraeten. Saw Pat Boyce get collected as well. He was able to keep it straight. Finally, the onboard with Roger Craig. Left front suspension damage on the 747. Lights are off. We'll come back to green and put 1 lap on the board. Rayner continues to lead. May have some back end damage. Gary Alford, Pat Boyce, John Hine round out the top 4 transfer drivers. Here we go. Keith Jackson looking for a 2-for-1 discount as Rayner gets sideways once again. That puts Gary Alford out in front. Jackson makes his way up to 2nd, and man, Rayner's having issues. Contact with Pat Boyce. Nearly yeeted him there as he hangs on to it. Lap number 3 underway as Keith Jackson is the quickest driver on track. Tyler Flynn just made his way back out onto the surface. He flipped earlier, currently a lap down. We'll have to hope for a bunch of wrecks to break out. Jackson second quick in qualifying. 2.5 tenths faster than Gary Alford last time by. Just following him, trying to make sure he doesn't have to deal with Tyler Flynn, but may have to go for it if he wants a chance to race lead. Off for 4, side by side. Alford led last time by. And now they split the 831 of Tyler Flynn off for turn number 2. Jackson didn't get a really good exit though, but he gets a good entry. With grip on the bottom, the PDC 13 out to the point at Knoxville. Pat Boyce currently the final driver in. As it's John Hine that closes in on the 94, gives him a bump draft down the back, peeks underneath for 2nd, slide job by the Professor and takes it away. 2 laps to go in heat race number 2. Pat's got company for 4th from Trent Verstraeten, who leans low. Not a good exit from the Venom Racing driver. Tries once more, nothing doing there. Final lap underway for Keith Jackson. Big heat points he'll use to try and close in on, right now, Blake Chapman. He's off for turn number 4, started 8th in the heat race. Thanks to the invert, he takes the win in the heat. Hines second, off for third, Pat Boy's 4th, Verstraete in 5th, Lawrence in 6th, Craig 7th, Rayner 8th, and Flynn in 9th. So it's Keith Jackson that picks up the win in heat race number 2. Time for the third heat race of the night, brought to you by Full Throttle Motorsports. And here's a look at the starting lineup. Full Throttle Motorsports as well, presenting our podium payouts tonight. Greg Parmalee on pole position, the number 4. Next to him, it's Dan McLaren in the number 88. Row number 2, Kyle Fahey, he's in the 16. And Logan Wentz next to him in the 118. Row number 3, the Desert Demon. To the outside, Terry Landis, the outside of Jonathan Dolly in car number 074. Row number 4, the Brute to Beast, Jeff Barker, the 513. Next to him, Randy Shreves, who rounds out the field for heat race number 3. Final heat race of the night. Night number 2 of qualifying in the Mike Westbrook Memorial Knoxville Nationals. So it's Blake Chapman, Keith Jackson on the front. Oh boy, Greg Parmalee went way too early. Rural State, you have to go on green flag. We'll have to see what race control says about this one. Battle for third, Dan McLaren, Jonathan Dolly. Race will continue. Wow, look out, big crash. Jeff Barker in the air, and Terry Landis is on his noggin. Barker's going to try to help Landis get back on all 4 wheels. Unfortunately, that's not going to work. Here's a replay on what happened. Barker and Wentz got together, and man, that is a sledgehammer hit. Jeff Barker on board. There's the slight wheel touch. Just a racing deal. Cushion cam getting filled up here tonight. So Greg Parmalee still out in front as the leader, so as of right now, everything seems to be okay on his end. It's Parmalee, Dolly, Fahey, and McLaren, the 4 transfer drivers at the moment. So single file restart coming up here. Rest of the drivers, Logan Wentz 5th, Randy Shreve 6th, Jeff Barker 7th, Terry Landis in 8th. Here we come for the restart on lap number 2.
Green, green, green.
Bad corner from Parmalee. Jonathan Dolly around the outside. Takes the race lead away at Knoxville. Battle for 2nd and 4th. Dan McLaren through on Randy Shreves. Fahey with a bumper full of McLaren, 3 wide for the 3rd position. Or check that was actually for the 2nd position rather, as it's a Hornets nest off for turn number 2. Jonathan Dahlia said, boys, keep on racing like that. I don't want a yellow. Damn, McLaren rides the wall in turn number 3. Somehow kept the car straight and did not tumble. Doesn't look like there's any damage on that ride, so all appears to be good. Parmalee still hanging on to a transfer spot, but here comes Jeff Barker off of turn 4. Randy Streets is closed in on Kyle Fahey. Peeks underneath on the neutral groove for the runner-up spot. And that doesn't work. Parmalee's got company from Barker, tries to look low, but Greg just barely shut the door. Barker tries to force his nose in and tries to look high, tries to look low with 2 to go in the heat. This is some good racing in Knoxville. Watch Logan Wentz closely though, folks. Trying to make his way in and hope something happens to 4th and 5th. Final lap underway for the final spot. Barker tries to get side by side with Parmalee. Wheel to wheel past the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. Jeff Barker through in the 4th position, but Parmalee one last shot for the final transfer spot in. You know who's gonna win it. Jonathan Dahlia's got it. Final spot at the line. Give it to the Brewerton Beast. Shreve 2nd, Fahey 3rd, Barker 4th, Parmalee 5th, Wentz 6th, Landis 7th, and McLaren 8th. And so now it is last chance showdown time as the cushion cam is covered in turn 2. Oh, they actually reset it there. All right, now it looks good. The B-Main brought to you by the Salty Dogs race team. And there are some that are racing in this B-Main tonight. Gary Taylor, the captain, on pole position, the 34. Next to him, Trent Verstraeten in the 88. Row number 2, Greg Parmalee in car number 4. And next to him, it's the driver of the number 25 that's driven by Gary Sigelkow. Row number 3, Doyle Lawrence in the 3. Next to him, Logan Wentz in the 118. Row 4, Glenn Sharp. He's in car number 99. And the Bassman, Roger Craig in the 747. Rounded out the top 10, the Desert Team in Terry Landis in car number 161. G.J. Boydell next to him in the 014. Row 6, JR John Rayner in the 302. And Dan McLaren in car number 88. Rounding out the grid, it's the number 43 of Bryce Odell. And Tyler Flynn rounds out the field. Denson wondering if it's Hard Knocks time yet. Not till tomorrow, unfortunately. We still got a lot of time to go through. Alrighty, we're going green. Top 12 drivers in the show. Bottom 2 headed to Dingus early. Green lights are on for the B-Main. 12 laps and we got trouble. Sigelkow sideways and up and over. Goes Glenn Sharp and somehow lands it on all 4 wheels. That is a 10 out of 10 on the balance beam. Sharp will be able to use a quick repair as we look at the replay to show you what happened into turn number 1. Gary just lost it all by himself. And man, what an odd flip for Glenn Sharp, and found a way to keep the car going. And we had another incident. Terry Landis, there was some contact after the yellow flag flew. Why don't we watch the onboard with Glenn Sharp? This is going to be a fun one. Wheel-to-wheel contact. Up and over. Man. It's like something that Tony Hawk would do. Like a little kick flip. Still one to go in our B main before we go green here for lap 2. It's a single file restart. Gary Taylor still leads on Trent Verstraeten. Final car in at the moment is Tyler Flynn, the 831. Glenn Sharp, Gary Sigelkow. Assume that they used a quick repair already. Back up the horsepower they go. Now we're underway again. Taylor holds serve, him and Verstraeten pull away from Greg Parmalee. Lawrence and Wentz try to go around the outside of the 4. They have it off the corner. He does. Look out, John Rayner really sideways off for turn number 4 and finds a way to hang on to it. Is hanging on. Final transfer spot. Glenn Sharp may have an opportunity despite rolling over a couple moments ago. Let's look at some other action on the track as the field makes their way off of turn number 4. Boydell trying to close in on Terry Landis. Roger Craig, Tyler Flynn, wing to wing off of 2. And Wentz and Doyle Lawrence still continue to do battle on board the 118. Quickest driver on the track right now, Tyler Flynn. 17:73, quickest lap of the race. Tries the slipstream off of G.J. Boydell underneath for the 7th position. Dan McLaren watching this battle pretty closely too. Flynn nearly pushed up. That helps out Boydell defend for that 7th position. Landis now the quickest man. 17:69 last time by. Wants the 4th spot possibly from Logan Wentz. John Rayner still the final driver in, and it's increased the lead to 1.5 seconds on Glenn Sharp. So take a look at the 99. He did use a quick repair. But him and Sigelkow each have fallen off the pace. Landis drafting off for Wentz. Tried to back up the exit off of turn 4. Now he peeks underneath. We got a battle for the lead meanwhile. Verstraeten is closed in on Gary Taylor. Was a 10th better. Goes in with a slide job and takes her to the point with 3 laps to go in the B main. Taylor tried to counter it back with another slider, but Verstraeten shut the door right in his face. Right now, everyone in the top 12 all look to be good. Don't want to race too hard or else you risk yourself taking yourself out of a top 12 spot. You see Greg Parmalee kiss the wall as he hangs on to it. Tyler Flynn, Dan McLaren, Greg Parmalee once again for 7th. Oh, McLaren looks for a hole to open up, but it's just closed in front of him. Had to back out of it. 1 lap to go. Remember, McLaren's in the show. He's in 9th. Final car in. John Rayner up by 1.5 seconds on Glenn Sharp. Trent Verstraeten makes his way through turns number 3 and 4 for the checkers. Verstraeten takes the win, the last chance showdown. 2nd, Gary Taylor. We got trouble. A big crash. Look at the wheelie from Terry Landis. One driver's crash. Glenn Sharp has flipped, and through goes Sigelkow to the big show. What on earth just happened? Parmalee is out of it after he was just about in the show. Let's break this finish down here. Watch Landis first off for turn number 4. Lawrence a little bit sideways, and look at that wheelie! Terry Landis with one of the longer wheelies we've seen in recent memory. And one more driver. That's Glenn Sharp. We need to rewind the footage and get you Parmalee. Show you what happened here. Oh, Dan McLaren caught the berm into the 4-car. And trying to get his way back in, letting some of the drivers go. Glenn Sharp. He got Glenn Sharp. Gary Sigelkow also involved. And found his way through to make the show. Step aside and go to break. When we come back, feature time on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Time for our 25-lap feature. Let's meet the field and give you your starting lineup. On the pole, the boss, Ross Corina in the 10. Next to him, Keith Jackson in the 113. Row 2, Jonathan Dolly in the 074. And the Money King, Kyle Moonen in the 24. Row 3, the Professor, John Hine in the 71. And Randy Shreves in the 56. Row 4, the Salesman, Blake Chapman in car number 20. And Gary Offa next to him in the 94. Rounding out the top 10, Kyle Fahey. He is in car number 16. And Michael Junk next to him in the 27. Row 6, Pat Boyce in the 41. And the Brewer to Beast, Jeff Barker in the 513. Row 7, Trent Verstraeten in the 88. And the captain, Gary Taylor in the 34. Row number 8, Logan Wentz, he's in the 118. And the Desert Demon, Terry Landis in the 161. Row 9, Doyle Lawrence, he's in the number 3, and G.J. Boydell in the 014. Row 10, Dan McLaren in the 88, and Tyler Flynn in the 831. Row number 11, Bryce Odell in the 043, and the Bassman, Roger Craig in the 747. Rounding out the grid for tonight, John Rayner in the 302, and actually a correction, Greg Parmalee makes it into the show. So our results may have actually been a little bit off there. Apologies for that. So Gary Sigelkow and Glenn Sharp at the bar early. All right, let us know your pick to win. I'm going to go with tonight, Ross Corinna, to get it done. As we're ready to go racing, Barney's got the green flag in hand. 24 drivers following the Steve King Foundation pace truck until now. Where else would you rather be than right here, right now, from coast to coast? Jackson and Corinna bring it done, bring it to green. Night 2 of qualifying. It's time to get it on. Keith Jackson leads him off at turn number 2. Ross Corinna in second. Jonathan Dolly third. Kyle Moonen fourth, and Blake Chapman round out the top 5. Off the corner, Jackson leads the opening circuit. Chapman through to fourth, and he looks underneath on the 074 of Dolly for that third position off at turn number 2. And he take it away. They both have reeled in Ross Corinna as well for the runner-up spot, so we'll just have to see what happens there. Speaking of Dolly, actually just got the chocolate chips, and in the wall loses a bunch of spots down into 6th. Randy Shreves cracks the top 5, and Kyle Moonen moves up to 4th. As Dolly tries to fight back low on Shreves for 5th. He has it back at the line. Now he's got a very fast hot rod underneath that 4 Mile Productions power plant. Made some contact there with Shreves for just a moment. Kyle Moonen also is closed in on Blake Chapman for the bottom step of the podium. Right now, it looks like the 4 drivers that would battle for provisional pole here tonight in the Knoxville Nationals. We know Brad Wade coming into the night had the most at 494. So it could be either Keith Jackson, Ross Corinna, or Blake Chapman for the looks of it, in my opinion. Blake has improved. It started back in 7th. He's looking for 2nd on the boss. Corinna shuts the door on him for that 2nd spot. And then he opened it back up. Chapman through. He's got 2nd at the line. So good car for the KSR number 20 early, but Corinna starting to fight back a little bit on that high side. Did he find some grip? He could not find a couple. They didn't find a couple of moments ago. Let's see here. Chapman's got him clear. He's better in 3 and 4, while Corinna has the advantage in 1 and 2. Let's go back to the race for 5th. Shreves and Dolly continue to race hard for the position. Dolly still playing defense, holding off the number 56. Other good racing off at turn 4, John Hine, Kyle Fahey. They battle for the 7th position. Biggest mover on track. He was in our picture just a couple of moments ago. G.J. Boydow started in the 18th position and has climbed his way up to 10th. Great start for the driver of the 014. Here comes Jeff Barker. Tries the longer way around, possibly on Fahey for 8th. So we get that to stick. Meanwhile, John Hine testing out the cushion and ripping the lip. For turn 2 is starting to turn into a motocross track. It's getting hilly just like it is in 3 and 4. And we're 3 wide for the 7th position. Barker stuck in the middle. Who comes out on top with this? We know Barker has passed 1. He may pass them both with a 2-for-1 discount. Gary Taylor off the pace of the 34. Terry Landis has also gone a lap down. Not sure if they got into an accident or not, but we stay green. Working lap number 12 of this feature. Here's a look at the 5-lap average for Keith Jackson, who's got just under a 1-second lead on Blake Chapman. You can see the salesman, the better car, in the last 5 laps. You see the lap times starting to dwindle down all around. Jackson approaching lap traffic. For the first time tonight on the track, it's John Rayner in the 302. That's Terry Landis in the 161. This could allow Blake Chapman to possibly close in. Works through one with no issues. We'll keep you posted on that. Kyle Moonen and Ross Corinna, meanwhile, battle for the bottom step of the podium. Moonen liking the top side of the racetrack. Big run on Ross Corinna off at turn number 4. I don't know if he edged him for 3rd at the line or not. That would be critical in case a yellow were to fly. Meanwhile, Moonen nearly bikes it in turn number 2. right on that cushion big time. Chapman's increased the lead at just about a second. More traffic ahead in Lawrence and Parmalee. Jeff Barker now with a hot rod. Next driver he approaches is Jonathan Dolly in the battle for the 6th position on the track. He has got something going on that 513, helping him out with points. Third starting spots. Looking at, remember, if you finish in points in the top 16, you are locked into the show. If you're inside the top 10 tonight, guess what? You are in the pole shuffle as Trent Verstraeten just spun out. No caution flag. We stay under the green flag. You go back to the battle for the 6th position. Barker and Dolly, and then also G.J. Boydell is up 10 positions now. Side by side down the back chute, the Burton Beast and Dolly. Seven laps to go, coming to 6th this time by for Keith Jackson. Good air ahead of him. Chapman still having issues getting past Parmalee and has to yeet him out of the way. It's like, come on, man, you're messing me up. Gary Taylor also letting the runner-up driver go. Top two all with a good buffer on Kyle Moonen at 4.8 seconds. Next driver for Jackson is the 43 of Bryce O'Dell. 5 laps to go here in qualifying night number 2. Here's a look at the 5-lap average once again. Blake Chapman, the quickest driver on track, along with 4th place Randy Shreves, and the gap is cut down to a half second. So could it be roles reversed on the salesman's end, possibly? Remember, he lost out by 5 thousandths of a second to Patrick Spangler. And guess what? Keith Jackson, you've got company with 4 laps to go. This could possibly determine who starts on pole for the Knoxville Nationals. We'll have to see. Gary off on Roger Craig, the leader's approach. 3 laps to go, different lines. Chapman looking low for the race lead off for 2. Jackson ripped the top. Again, a great exit compared to the salesman. See if can Blake get some fight off at turn number 4. Still having issues with Gary Offut. Has to switch around the outside. Could that be what may cost Blake Chapman the race, possibly? We'll have to see. That's next time by. We have the white flag flying in the air from Barney. Oh, but Chapman, better 3 and 4 in corner entry. As we're on the final lap here, Keith Jackson out in front in the PDC 113. Him and Blake Chapman split Roger Craig, but out in front, issue from Logan Wentz as he slows up, and Keith Jackson in the PDC 113 off return number 4, checkers wave. Jackson takes the win in night number 2 at Knoxville. Chapman second, third across the line is Kyle Moonen, Randy Shreves 4th, Ross Corina 5th. Biggest mover tonight, the Inferno Hard Charger, is G.J. Boydell in the 014 up 9. And a big crash as Lawrence has ended on his lid just past the checkers. But your top 3 will pull her into victory fuel, victory lane. And we will have a word with both Jackson, Chapman, and Moonen. I don't know if we'll get the starting lineups, the top 16 for Thursday officially set. Check out the Coast to Coast Racing League Facebook page as well as C2CRL.com for the official top 16 lineup. So as your top 3 pose for a photo, we will show you our feature results here. Keith Jackson takes the win by 3/4 of a second. And how about the gap they put on Kyle Moonen? It was 5.8 seconds back in 3rd. Randy Shreves 4th. Ross Corina 5th. Jeff Barker up 6 spots and finishing 6th at the end. Look at that cushion messed up big time. Dan McLaren also picking up some good spots, and same with Roger Craig. Appears to be the heartbreak of the night went to Trent Verstraeten, who spun in turn 4 into pit road. Did not bring a yellow out as the track was clear, and we could remain under green flag conditions. So top 3 are in the waiting room and set to go. We will begin with our third place finisher in Kyle Moonen. Kyle, what'd you learn about your race car tonight that you could take forward over to Thursday, if not Wednesday?
I'm not real sure. I definitely need to find a little bit of speed somewhere. Car didn't feel bad, just I don't know, didn't have a lot of speed. I need to run some more laps. I haven't ran, a lot here lately, so that'll help as well. But we'll figure something out.
A good run, though, for you tonight. Who do you want to give shout-outs to on the car?
Just all the guys at Vanderbilt, Ross Krenn at Velocity Race Design, you guys for the broadcast, and Roger and everyone that helps with the league and put on these charity events. I always like running these, so thanks to everyone that helps put these on.
All right, man. We'll let you go. Great job tonight, and best of luck rest of the week.
Sounds good. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Kyle Moonen finishes in third. Let's go to our second place finisher in Blake Chapman. Blake, you closed in late in the race. Did you? I'm curious. Did you go up to the high side a little bit too late when Keith started to open the gap back up?
No, I tried to go up there, and I tried to go to the middle. This car, I tried to make some adjustments to make it a little more versatile, and so I could move around a little bit in this feature, but I feel like maybe it just locked me down on the bottom a little bit more. I just didn't feel good anywhere else other than that bottom. So, towards the end of the race, I knew I was only going to be quick down there, so I really had to just commit to that line, and lap cars didn't play in my favor exactly with that. So, I don't think a caution really would have helped me because I'm sure Keith would have just kept it down there anyway. So, I just got to make some adjustments on this car definitely to get a little bit quicker for Thursday night if we want a shot at winning the big dance.
Do you feel like you're confident in the pole shuffle tomorrow? It looks like from the way you performed tonight, you look like you're in a top 10 spot, but obviously we're not sure right now.
Yeah, I'm guessing the pole shuffle, the track will have quite a bit of grip in it, and the heat, the feature, the setup that we've been running, that has a for the tacky setup, it's fast right now. So hopefully we can just keep things rolling on that end, and we get a couple spots in the pole shuffle, assuming that we're in there.
Who do you want to give shout-outs to?
Well, first I got to thank everybody for putting this on, all the sponsors that can make this great event happen, and I got to thank my parents for watching, and I got to thank all the guys at the Krite Sim Racing Team and the Can-Am Racing Team. Got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps, Andy at AJ Custom Creations, and of course I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. They got some of the best stuff out there. You can head over to their website and use code CART for 15% off of your purchase. And I got to thank you for putting this on, Marty.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Great job tonight. Best luck rest of the week.
Thanks, Marty.
So Blake Chapman finishing second, was the quickest driver in qualifying tonight. We now go to your winner. Keith Jackson gets it done, won his heat race, second quick, I believe, in time trials, and wins the feature. Yeah, man, that's a statement win. You got to feel really good about that, and you can be a contender to possibly win this thing on Thursday night.
Absolutely. We'll definitely take those results any night of the week.
What'd you learn about your car tonight that made you feel like you can run a lot better than these guys tonight, that you can stand out above the competition?
I just figured it was going to end up being around the bottom, and then once we got to the lap traffic, you had to bounce around a little bit. It surprised me. It was still pretty good up top in 1 and 2. It seems like 3 and 4. It's always so rough. I'd never want to be up there around the top, but I got stuck up there a couple of times. Still didn't feel bad, but definitely feel like if you could roll the bottom consistently, you're gonna be hard to pass.
So now we go into tomorrow, the pole shuffle. Obviously, we don't know if it's you or Brad Waite that has the most points. It seems like it's going to come down to one of you, between you and him. What are you expecting going on in the pole shuffle tomorrow?
I have no clue. Just show up and hope what we did tonight we can mirror it tomorrow night.
Who do you want to give shout-outs to?
Jack, Devo, Greg, Gary, you guys putting this thing on, and Roger and all them, everything they do. They do a lot that I'm sure that we don't know about to keep this thing running as smooth as it does. So hats off to them, absolutely.
All righty, man. We'll let you go. Congratulations on the win tonight. Best of luck the rest of the week.
Yep, thank you, Marty.
Keith Jackson celebrating in Victory Fuel Victory Lane. And don't forget as well, top 3 Algain payouts courtesy of our friends at Full Throttle Motorsports. Definitely appreciate them for their support. So now we move things over here to tomorrow, where we have the Hard Knocks, where we'll figure out the bottom 4 drivers, to those that did not qualify their way in via the top 16 in points. And also we have the pole shuffle tomorrow. Top 10 drivers will compete in that. We'll have a couple of different races, 7 through 10 in one race, and then top 2 transfer up to the next race where they face 6 and 5, 4 and 3, and 2 and 1 in points. So it's going to be fun to see who starts on pole for the granddaddy of them all on Thursday night. So we'll know a lot more as things play out in advance tomorrow night, all beginning at 7:25 p.m. Shaggy TV will have the broadcast on the Coast to Coast Racing Network, so you won't want to miss out on things. Thanks for joining us here on this Tuesday night. On behalf of the Coast to Coast Racing League, all the fine drivers, sponsors, admins, and contributors to the Knoxville Nationals, Roger Craig and his great group, Marty Sakala signing off here for tonight. Your winners tonight is Keith Jackson and Patrick Spangler. So long, everyone.